Thank you, Russell. How are you?
I'm doing really good. I wanted to first start off by thank you for the kind words I saw you putting out there about me the other night on your stream. So I appreciate that a lot.
Well, I meant most of it. So no, you're most welcome. I think you do a great job. And as I've mentioned to you a couple times, to keep that many people entertained for that long of a period, it's not easy. And you strike the perfect balance of some inside jokes, but not too inside where people will feel left out yet. Enough where it makes those people feel a little bit special because you do want to honor the people who ride with you, right? Every single day, every single show.
Yeah, it's crazy. We've gotten to a point now. I actually had to put on subscriber only chat because it's been getting so crazy. We've been getting lots of spam. So that's where we're at now.
That's when you know you've made it, man.
So Clay, we chatted. I wanted to bring you on just to get an update from you on a couple things that are happening with the Canucks, everything that's moving into the summertime, and then as well a little bit of Abby Canucks talk. So I thought we'd start off by, and it's a little bit of older news, but I haven't really heard from you on this one. What are you feeling about head coach Adam Foote moving into the next season?
Yeah, ultimately, Russell, I'm okay with it. That's not the strongest ringing endorsement, but I think you and I both know where the Canucks were going. They're trying to save a little money, but more importantly, they were trying to find someone who at least was around last year and could speak into the dynamic, how to motivate PD, how to keep Quinn Hughes happy, and everything that comes in between. So I'm okay truly with the hire. He's obviously Quinn Hughes likes him. That's very important. We know that. He was around last year. That's very important. We know that. And if it's true is between him and Malhotra, I know you're allowed to talk to Manny when he's inside of this run right now, that this magical run that Abby's on. But I kind of hope that Malhotra's still around in 3 years from now when Adam Foote's contract runs out. I don't want the Canucks not to do well, but if Adam Foote does not last his 3 years and Manny's still here, that seems like a natural next point, but we're not there yet. Let's I think it's really important that we support Adam and we I like what he said in the media. He's very straightforward. He's not going to pull any punches and just kind of like the way he played.
Yeah. Do you think any part of it in the decision process was just like, we need to go into next year with pretty much the same system that we are? We can't afford to be learning a new system and getting off on a bad foot to start next year after such a terrible year.
You know, that's such a good point because I don't remember the first couple of games they tried to play run and gun and they were giving up leads. They were giving up. They're getting odd man chances too, but they're giving them up as well. So I never thought about that, but that makes a lot of sense. Is at least remnants of last year's system, because if you're thinking you're turning over another third of the roster, or at least 3 or 4 new players, the less change to the system, the better. So I think you have a really good point there.
Yeah. I think the only thing that would make me extra sour on Adam Foote being hired as a head coach would be if that results in Manny Malhotra not being in the organization anymore, because I have heard they do have an option for Manny Malhotra for the Abby Canucks next year. But yeah, if Manny walks away from this, then suddenly Adam Foote's hiring is not a great one for me.
Yeah, we know how well options go with Canucks coaches. So.
So they did just announce as well the 3 assistant coaches for Adam Foote. 3 guys. One's got a lot of experience in Dean, and then a couple of guys who are younger, maybe a little less experience when it comes to coaching. Does the hiring of the 3 assistant coach change your outlook on the Canucks coaching moving into the next year?
Yeah, it's funny. I remember these 3 guys from when they were NHL: Dean, McLean, and Young. And we know that Young's been with the team player personnel for the past few years. Young actually had some offensive ability, so that's good. I hope he's the one doing some of the offensive stuff. Overall, I don't know how you can look at this group and have complete confidence given that there's not one iota of head coaching NHL experience. But I just, maybe it's the optimist in me, Russell. It's not even a shtick. It's the way I am. Maybe it's a perfect storm of 4 guys who don't have a lick of experience come together and magic happens. Honestly, you don't have expectations. You don't have any preconceived, whatever, agenda, beef, ego, anything. Maybe it works out. And if these guys, if they get along, if they develop good chemistry and the players like them, then who knows what could happen. But it's not lost on me nor you.
Yeah.
There's not a single digit in their whatever coaches games coach column on their Wikipedia page right now.
I mean, I guess we could take a little bit of beginner's luck to start the year.
Yeah, why not? Why not?
So the Abby Canucks have been on a magical run through the playoffs. They've already played 4 rounds of the playoffs because of the way the AHL playoffs are structured. Watching the highlights, I know it's been hard to get it. Even with me on Flow Hockey, the stream crashes repeatedly. But for you, what has been the most fun that you've seen watching the Abby Canucks so far in this run?
Yeah, and if I go by position, Russell, just the easiest way for me to think about it, obviously Shilovs has been outstanding. He's been maybe had one game, and even the game where he gives up 5, they're not his fault. So Shilovs has been absolutely outstanding. It kind of adds some intrigue to our goalie, our never-ending goalie situation. On D, I love what Mancini's doing, and I think of the 3 young guys, he is the most likely to move, right? Mancini, PD, and DPD, and Verlander, but it's a good thing. We can't get too married to any of these players. So it's good. It's good that Mancini is playing well, and kind of reminds me of Jovo, like fast, big, but kind of high risk, high reward. Maybe plays it, but I do like Mancini, and even a guy like Kudryavtsev, who I think eventually will be a depth piece on the left side. Fine, excellent, and Willan and all those guys, and I'm partial to Hirose because of the half Japanese thing. So, and I do like what Mancini's doing. And up front, it varies to me. Like sometimes I'm really excited when I see what Sasson or Carlson are doing, because those are guys that will hopefully make a dent and get a chance next year. And then there's guys like Sammy Blais and Jujhar Khaira, who I know probably will never make the Canucks because maybe that's passed, or you bring them up and you have to send them back down and then you lose them on waivers. But I kind of like the way that the veteran guys are going, and they're a big help. And Archie Baines, a little bit up and down, but has been really strong. Seemed to be coming on at the end of that last series. So all to say that the whole team really has clicked. And it's so funny, man. You mentioned the 5 rounds. I actually scooped up a pair of tickets for game 4, which is great. So my wife, Gail, my lovely wife, Gail, has never been in an Abby Canucks game. She's knowledgeable enough by osmosis, but try to explain to your significant other how the Calder Cup playoffs work. Not easy.
It's best just get the flow chart out, just get the whole graphic up there.
Yeah. Don't you love how none of the 4 corners are equal? So like this goes 5 rounds. This one, you only got to win 2 rounds. This one, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. Yeah, because the Pacific Division has 11 teams and all the other divisions have like 7 teams. So that ends up with essentially a play around for the Pacific Division.
How about you? Who stood out to you?
Yeah, I mean the Mancini. I think he's tapered off a little bit here in the last series or so, but he has been in beast mode. It's been like watching a man among boys. And Sammy Blais, I think the thing we always forget about Sammy Blais, I think he's still only 28, 29 years old, so he's still on the young side, and he has not been showing any kind of problems with the injuries that he's doing with his legs. So that makes me think that because he doesn't have a contract for anything next year. He signed a 1-year deal, and it was a full-on Abbotsford Canucks deal. So that makes me think that if the Canucks want to, and they are able to get him to, I think he might be in training camp next year looking for maybe a PTO or playing for some kind of a contract with the big club. Because slot him in on a line with Joshua, and then you never know, because Sammy Blais has got those what do they call them, the Chell hits, where he's just like he's smacking people, he's sending them right off their feet, right? And if we can get him and Keeper Sherwood playing together on a line with somebody down the middle, man, that might be a very scary third line. And that's the thing, he brings that veteran presence too with the Stanley Cup under his belt. So I wouldn't be surprised to see Sammy Blais in a Vancouver Canucks jersey next year.
And that's so fascinating, Russell, because thank you for reminding me about the fact that he's under contract only to Abby, because then if he signs a PTO, that's great, but then he could also do that with any of the 32 teams. Exactly. So if he's a great run here and he gets some confidence and he gets some eyeballs on him, then the Canucks are just one of 32 teams going after him. Obviously not all 32. So we'll see. That's going to be interesting to watch for sure.
Yeah, it's been fun to watch him. I mean, he did lose his cool a little bit. He actually got tossed out of like 2 games in a row back when he was playing against the Eagles, against the veteran Eagles team that really got under his skin. But after that, he's taken it back a notch. He's gotten back into his own play, and he has still gotten some penalty minutes. But at the end of the day, he has been very effective and was a big part of the comeback in the last game against Texas.
You worried about Lekkerimaki, or is it just growing pains?
I think it's a couple things. The injury, the oral surgery that he had. So he was wearing a full cage, and I know that can mess you up. And then just trying to get back into the swing of things in the middle of the playoffs. So I think he's probably just dealing some nicks and stuff like that.
Okay.
So I wouldn't be too concerned at this point. He still had a really good regular season. So we'll wait and see how he looks coming training camp time.
All right. I trust you.
Yeah.
I'll take your word for it.
Only time will tell. So I wanted to ask you this question because I've added it to our getting to know you segments once we bring people onto the show the first time. But when I had you on for the first time, I didn't have a chance to ask you this because the question didn't exist. So if you had to add a player to the Canucks from a hated rival and have them be a career Canuck, who would that be?
Wow, career Canuck. Okay. So without qualifying it for the next 7 minutes, I think obviously it's subjective now who the Canucks rival is. Do you go back and, Chicago, late 2000, you know what I mean, Boston, and then Edmonton, Calgary. I think those are the kind of four that kind of spring to hit my head. So the Chicago one, that's easy. Like Connor Bedard, I'm not worried about him. He's going to develop into an amazing player. Still, people want him to come here when he becomes a UFA. So in a perfect world or in a fantasy world, I would love to see what Connor Bedard could do on this team in his hometown. And as long as if you can take the media, then that's cool. Then I've always liked Charlie McAvoy, and I've always from Boston, obviously, and imagine appearing with him and Hughes, which we'll probably see at the Olympics. Lefty righty, so that would be amazing to me. And then a third one, just for good measure, like I still don't consider Edmonton a rival, even though I don't know about you, Russell. I can't stand Calgary. Like there's just something. Maybe it was that bench clearing brawl with Tortorella, or maybe it just playoff. So if I had to be nice, or at least answer your question properly, I love Rasmus Anderson's game. I know he's got 1 year left on his contract, and there's rumors, whatever, they may have been looking at him. Why would Calgary trade him here? So let's go with that. Let's go with one of Bedard, McAvoy, or Anderson.
Hey, not a bad trio. I mean, I think when you're talking about the rivals too, sometimes it's hard, right? Because I feel like the Edmonton-Vancouver rivalry maybe went up a notch in the playoffs last year, but there hasn't been really a time in the last like maybe 20 years where both Vancouver and Edmonton were good at the same time. And I think that's a key part of being in a rivalry, is that you're actually competitive, because the Canucks, when the Sedins were big, they were just stomping the Oilers, right? And it was the same thing. The Calgary Flames really haven't been good at the same time as us. And so I think my hate for Edmonton's higher now than it is for Calgary, but it changes based on the season.
Yeah, Calgary's just annoying. I don't know what it is about
it. And I was born in Calgary too, right?
So, shoot. Yeah, exactly.
But like, and my dad tried to make me a Flames fan when I was younger, and I was not having anything of that one. So, I mean, but if I was a Flames fan, at least I have a cup, right?
Yes, that's true. That's a great point. Great. Now I'm sad. Thanks a lot, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah. So I wanted to ask you a bit about the trade rumors and signings and stuff like that. Is there a name that you've seen out there that you think would be a realistic option for the Canucks, not just a fantasy?
Yeah, and I'm not just saying this because everyone seems to be saying, but this Marco Rossi thing, it seems not to go away, right? And I have him on my keeper league, my fantasy team, because all the reasons why we want him actually in real life. He's cheap. He's a pivot, right? He plays center. Some 60-point guy. And I've heard there's some fears about what if you get him, then you got PD and him 1-2. That's not the biggest thing. And obviously a lot of these teams have really big, strong bulls down the middle. Remember when we had Horvat? So I'm over it, I promise. So, but I do, if you hear that Guerin is open to trading him, but what are they gonna ask for? That's one name that I think we keep an eye on. I know this is your next question, but is Ehlers a potential replacement for Boeser? And honestly, no matter what happens, I think our first round pick is in play in a draft that's not that strong, and a team that wants to win now. I wouldn't be surprised if that first round pick is gone by the time the draft comes around.
Yeah, I'm not a betting man, but I'd wonder what the odds are running on the Canucks actually using that 15th overall pick, because I don't think they're getting very good odds right now to actually use it.
Is it funny? Even before the draft lottery, Russell, people were already speculating that they were going to drop. No matter, even if they won the lottery, it seems like it was already out the door. So we'll see. I think
it's one of those things. This is the talk, is that in general, this draft is not a very deep one. So even at 15, you're maybe not even getting anything. So if you can parlay that into something, packages up, and get yourself a second line center, then it's probably the right choice to make, because they've got to pick, surprisingly, a first round pick for the next year, which is supposed to be a much stronger draft. So maybe they hang on and actually draft that one.
Yes, and combine that, Russell, the fact that it's not that strong this year, with Rutherford saying right at the end of the season, we're not gonna stand pat. We're gonna improve this team. We want to win now. So that all points to me to some sort of package for sure.
So the two big free agents that everyone kind of have been batting around lately is Boeser and Suter. Some people think we're gonna lose both. Some people think we're gonna keep both. If you could only keep one of them, Clay, on this Vancouver Canucks roster, who you keeping?
I like Boeser a lot, but I think you go Suter. He's going to be half the price. Can maybe do more even in terms of versatility, right? He's not. If you're talking about pure goal scoring, of course it's Brock Boeser. But if even with a cap going up, which it is for every single team, you can't just say, "Oh, the cap's going up, so we can do whatever." No, every team's got that same competitive advantage. I take Pius Suter every single day. Just I think he can do more, and that's you're saving $3 to $4 million to do something else on your roster.
Yeah, and he got a Selke vote this year too, right? So.
I saw that. And did they listen at the very bottom too?
Yeah. Daniel Wagner.
Oh, it was.
Yeah. That's what my buddy Dustin was saying. I think it was Daniel Wagner who voted for him. So.
Yeah, like I guess if you have 5 votes, there's nothing wrong with throwing a Canuck your 5th one.
Yeah. Well, I didn't tell you I was going to ask you this, but I thought I'd ask you anyways. Yeah, the brass have been seen touring around various sites in town, Britannia and in South Burnaby. Does that give you a little bit of hope that maybe the organization is moving towards getting a practice facility shortly, or is it just kind of like smoke and mirrors? They're just trying to appease all of us people on the internet.
Well, I guess something's better than nothing. And I always think of, I know land is at a premium, but spend the money and buy something new. It just doesn't sit right that the Canucks are going to be playing somewhere where I've played roller hockey before, like me and my 50-year-old butt right straightening around the ice. Oh yeah, that's where Quinn Hughes is. No, I don't know. But the fact that they've that Rick Tocchet not so jokingly has referenced it both before he left and when he went to Philly, that kind of sucks, right? So I think something's better than nothing for sure. I don't know if anything's going to come of it, but I think they're feeling the pressure for sure.
Cool. Just last one before I let you go. What can everyone look forward to from Canucks Clay moving in through the summertime, and what are the plans?
Well, I appreciate that. Yeah, I went down from 5 shows a week to 3 while the playoffs are on. Once the Stanley Cup is awarded, probably go down to, I'll cover free agency, the draft, but then much like all the GMs going to their cottages, I don't have a cottage. I'll just go outside of my inside studio here, and then I'll probably do 1 or 2 shows a week just to stay connected with the community, but then look at ways to ramp up for the season for sure.
Awesome. Cool. Thank you.
And
very
watch
much,
Nothing
Clay.
is Perfect, and watch you as well.
Yeah,
so
exactly. Yeah. We'll be busy. So thank you very much for coming on today, Clay, and enjoy the rest of the week.
All right. You too. Thanks, brother. Keep up the good work.
Nothing is perfect.